Radical equations and extraneous solutions. These are any equation where the variable is under a radical. What that means is a square root of the variable or a cube root, any of the roots. The reason that these are difficult is because sometimes they can give us fake answers. These are called extraneous solutions. When we go back in to check these fake answers, they end up not working out. They end up being false. So my first example here, I'm saying solve this equation for x and also check for extraneous solutions. So I noticed that this is radical, or you could say square root 2x minus 4 is equal to 12. And the way that I solve equations is by doing opposites to cancel things out. So the opposite of square root is square. So I need to square this. And what I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I would also square this 12. Okay, so on the left-hand side, these will cancel. Square root and square cancel, which is what I want. I want these to go away to make my life easier. Over here, I'm doing 12 squared. Notice when you square a square root, you're going to end up with a plus or minus. So 12 squared, this is going to end up with a plus or minus 144. And the reason for that is if I do negative 12 and I square that, I end up with 144, right? Negative times a negative is a positive. But also if I square a positive 12 squared, I still get 144. So either of these could give me 144. I kind of have two answers that I'm getting here. So let's look and see what happens next. To solve this equation, I could next add 4 to both sides to get rid of the minus 4. All right, so that's going to give me over here, these cancel. I get 2x. On the right-hand side, I'm going to have 4 plus or minus 144. My last step here, this is 2x, this is 2 times x. So the opposite of times 2 is divide by 2. All right, 2x divided by 2 is just x, those cancel. And then over here, 4 divided by 2 is 2, plus or minus. And then 144 divided by 2 is 72. Okay, so this plus or minus is going to give me two different answers. First of all, I'm going to have to do 2 plus 72. That's going to give me 74. I also need to do 2 minus 72. So 2 minus 72 is going to give me negative 70. So you can tell I've got two answers. One of these is the correct answer, and the other one is what we call extraneous. So we're going to go ahead and check both of these by plugging them back in and see which one works and which one is a liar. One of these is extraneous. So first of all, let's plug back in 74. And I'm just going to plug this back into the original equation. This was radical 2 times 74 instead of x, and then minus 4. And the other answer that I'm going to check is the negative 70. So I would plug this back in also into the radical 2 times negative 70 minus 4, and I want to see if that equals 12. 2 times 74 is 148. Minus 4 is 144. All right. When I square root 144, I get 12. So this is good. Yes, check mark. That's good. This is the solution. 2 times negative 70, that's going to give me negative 140 minus 4. So I'm just using PEMDAS here. Negative 140 minus 4 is negative 144. and I cannot square root this. I can't square root a negative, so this is extraneous. This is extraneous. So if we ask you what's the solution was this. 74 was the solution. What was the extraneous answer? It was negative 70. Okay, this is another radical equation. Here the radical is 1/3. So this is the cube root, or the 1/3 root. Again, I'm going to start off by doing opposites to cancel things out. So first of all, I noticed that it would be easier to just divide out this 5. Divide by 5. Divide by 5 before I raise any powers. All right, that's going to give me 2x plus 9 to the 1/3. And then 15 divided by 5 is 3. All right, the opposite of the 1/3 power is cube, or raising it to the 3rd power. So I'm going to cube both of these. On this side, that'll cancel 2x plus 9. And then over here, I'm doing 3 to the 3rd power. So I'm doing 3 times 3 times 3. This is 3 to the 3rd power. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So 3 cubed is going to give us 27. Okay, now next, to get rid of the 9, I could subtract 9 from both sides. It's going to give me 2x equals 18. And then to get rid of that 2, I'm dividing both sides by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So this one's only giving me one answer. There's not 2 answers like in the other one, but I still want to check this. I want to see, is this extraneous or is this the correct answer? So what I'm going to do now is just plug this back in. I've got 5 times 2, and then instead of x, I'm writing 9. Just bring down the rest. I'm going to multiply 2 times 9, 18. Bring down everything else. 18 plus 9, that's going to give me 27. The cube root of 27, just thinking backwards, 3 times 3 times 3 was 27. So this is going to be 5 times 3. And then 5 times 3, that's going to give us 15. So this is good. This answer is not extraneous. This is the correct solution. Okay, here's everybody's favorite thing, a word problem. Everybody loves word problems. This one says the time t in seconds that it takes an object to fall a distance d in feet is given by this radical equation. Find the distance d the object will have fallen after 8 seconds. So if t is time and I'm looking at 8 seconds, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to plug in 8 for t. So instead of t, I'm writing 8 for seconds. And this is going to equal the square root of d over 16. My next step, to get rid of the square root, I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to square both sides. So 8 times 8 is 64. And that's going to cancel out that square root, d over 16. To get rid of that 16, this is divide by 16. I'm just going to multiply both sides times 16. All right, 64 times 16 is 1024. And over here, these cancel. So that's going to be your final answer. What you want to do with this is then again plug it back in and just make sure that it's not extraneous. Okay, I hope that helps. This is definitely one of the harder topics here of algebra. Hopefully this helps you out.